Please note that this content is for adults only. And ducks. Viewer discretion suggested.
I would just like to state that Miss Bell's crimes, as found by the jury to be guilty, were more of her being a willing victim, and that spilled over. Should she have done something? Yes, she should have. She didn't, and that's what led her here. So we would ask the court to take those into consideration. Thank you.
Does your client wish to make any statements?
I didn't do this.
Stand up, stand
Y'all know I didn't do this.
Ms. Bell, you and I had a conversation
We did.
back in Chambers on Wednesday, remember, morning? And at the time I told you there's a difference between the reality of the situation and what you think. I explained to you exactly why you were being charged with the crimes. It wasn't that you knew about the murder, it wasn't that you anticipated the murder, it wasn't that you planned the murder, any of those things. It was simply that you created an environment that caused your children to be put second and Mr. McNabb to be put first. As the state said in their closing, and they used the example of a rattlesnake being thrown into a room and the child being put into there. Well, your whole claim is I took him back because I wanted to have a family. In that analogy the state used, it's just kind of like saying your child's dead from a rattlesnake bite. Why would you put it in there? And you responded, well, I just wanted her to enjoy nature, have an appreciation of the outdoors, without appreciating the danger. Now, I'm sorry, but for you to go around chasing McNabb, doing meth, flies in the face of what any normal mother would do. We hear stories out in society, I mean out everywhere. The mother bear, they're so ferocious. Why? Because you're messing with their child. All those kind of things. And you chose methamphetamine and McNabb over a baby.
It's a sickness, but I tried to be a good mama. I love my babies.
The problem, Miss McNabb, is that, like most criminals, you have this version of what a good mama is that is so far from the norm that, you know, you go anywhere in this county, talk to anybody who's watching this and say, is it a good mama who doesn't even care about her 14-year-old baby? Put them with a cousin. I've known of instances where mamas won't even let in the first couple of weeks of a child's life people around the child for fear that the child's immune system hadn't been built up and they don't want germs brought into the child. They go to that extent. You went just the exact opposite direction. And there's just no excuse for that. On count, well, let's talk about this. Count 2 merges with count 1.
Yes, Judge.
What's the thought about count 3?
I think it's fine, Judge. It does not merge.
Okay. On count 1, I'm going to sentence you with 30 years, with the first 15 years to be served in confinement in the state penitentiary, the remaining time on probation. On count 3, I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in confinement and run at the same time as count 1. Now, do you understand your 2 sentences? Let the record reflect she's nodding her head slightly yes. And Ms. Bell, I'm going to give you the following rights that you have. Within 30 days, you have a right to appeal this case to the appellate level. You may start that process with a motion for new trial, which I'm going to direct the attorneys to file, just that skeleton general motion.
Yes, sir.
If at the time you decide, Ms. Bell, you can allege that your attorneys did an ineffective job, they just didn't do a good job, it has to be brought up at its earliest moment. The attorneys do not get their feelings hurt if you choose to do that, and we would appoint a conflict attorney to come in and take over the appeal. Do you understand me clearly about that? I need you to stand up first off. I need you to start verbalizing.
I understand.
Okay, because she's making a record on all this. It all has to be taken down. I'm also going to advise you that if the case is appealed to the appellate level and the appellate level affirms that case in the verdict and sends it back down for the service of the sentence, you have 4 years from the date it comes back down to file what is known as a writ of habeas corpus. That means I'm being illegally detained unconstitutionally, and I want my body out of jail. But it has to be done. It's a time-sensitive thing, and you only have 4 years to do that. You understand that clearly?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you have any other questions? Okay, take her on. Yes, ma'am.
The max on count 3 is 5.
And can you come back, Judge?
Is it 5?
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. True Crime Metrics here. So that was Cortney Bell in a bit of trouble there. Who was Cortney Bell? Well, she was convicted of murder of her 14-day-old baby, Kalia, in 2019. Sentenced to life without parole, but in 2022, the Georgia appellate courts overturned her conviction and released her, just set her free. Actually, I think they held a charge for a while that said that she was endangering the child by having drugs in the home and so on. But that was also dropped. And the question is, should she have been charged with murder? Because she didn't kill the baby. The state charged her with murder as a party to the crime because she allowed the baby's father to live with them, and he would do meth and beat her up. You know, the state's position was really that she created and maintained a dangerous environment. You know? I mean, does that really constitute a murder charge? I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy for her to go to prison forever, just anyway. But, you know, perhaps the state should have charged her with a lesser crime that wouldn't have got overturned. And then we could have squeezed 10, 15, 20 years out of it. As good as a life sentence, really. And the defense's position is that, yeah, they want you to believe that just because he beat on her, that she knew that he was going to kill the baby. And they have a point. Their position is like, in this country we have a whole month devoted to domestic violence. As a point of pride. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. We're going to look at her defense attorney, Mr. Frost, and his closing argument, because to be honest, he put up it was quite an easy argument. As far as murder defense work goes, this was an easy win, right? Should have been, but it wasn't. And I'm kind of surprised that the jury came back with a guilty verdict after this, but saying that the rebuttal by the state is also very impressive. I don't know if we're going to do that today or give it its own video because it was really good. But we'll see. Welcome everybody in the chat. Michelle, how you doing? Harley D. Boom. Deborah Rockhill and Daphne, good to see y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Anthony. Good morning. I want to thank you for your service here on behalf of Ms. Bell and myself and everybody. As I said in my opening, you are a critical element, if not the most critical element in our criminal justice system. And without you, it simply doesn't work. I want to thank you also for clearly being engaged throughout this trial. It was evident, and that's all we can ever ask for as trial lawyers. So I appreciate that, as does my client. In opening, I just want to revisit that briefly. It was short, fairly short. I asked you to do a few things. I remember my client was shrouded with the presumption of innocence, which she still is. And I hope that you will find that she remains that way after your deliberations. I also asked you if you would remember reasonable doubt, and we'll go over that in just a minute. And I think Mr. Carter kind of parsed out some of the important pieces of that, and I'll go over them again because they are very much worth mentioning. The state does have the burden on all of this, and I too feel that they have not met that burden, and I'll give you many reasons why. The most important thing that I want to go over and that I asked you to do was keep a notepad, and I hope you did it. A column, divide it down the middle, and I suspect that the side for the state.
Shit, I did mine side to side. Do I have to start again?
State probably has a great many things that you put down. If there is, on the other side, the defense side, questions or I don't want to say points because that's not what this is about. But if there are things that you felt were in favor of the defense, if there is only one thing, I don't care if there's 500 million on the left side for the state. If you have one, and that one question leaves any of your minds wavering, unsettled, wanting more, that's reasonable doubt. And you must acquit in that occasion. And I hope that the same diligence that you gave out here, receiving the evidence, you will take back there.
Aligning himself with Johnny Cochran there.
Into your deliberations. I hope that you will discuss with your fellow jurors, hey, I have this thought. I did what Mr. Frost asked, and I have this comment written down. What do y'all think about it? Can we engage in this? And you all have a charge, and by law should do that. You're not to surrender any of your opinions for congeniality or speed or efficiency. This is their lives. You must deliberate every issue, and all of you, not some of you, must be convinced that every single element has facts that you can say that has been proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Mr. Carter went over a lot of things that I'll probably maybe touch on a little bit because, as you know, they were very different cases, and I'll thoroughly explain that in a moment. But as far as his argument goes, I could not agree more. There are some really serious holes in the state's case. And they will try to just pack this together and say, he did it, she set the table, boom, done, call it a day, let's go home. It's just not that simple, folks. We don't.
He just did a great tactic there when he said, I could not agree more. Just that little gap, the pause between agree and more. Because it just grabs the attention. It keeps you engaged. You have to listen to work it out. Because your brain heard one thing, but then just heard the other thing that changed it completely. So you're like, okay, now I'm really following. That thing that he said the other day, I could not agree. More. I love that. That is a great, great tactic.
Don't even know. And it's certainly not an open and shut case that Mr. McNabb even did it. We have all kinds of questions about that, and I'm not going to get into, this is obviously...
I mean, this guy really goes the full yard, man. I mean, he actually starts getting the jury riled up about the Twin Towers. He starts going, we shouldn't be mad at them. We should be mad at those terrorists that flew those planes into those buildings, you know? I mean, that's smart, right? Somehow, he's aligned himself with the jury against the state of Georgia, at least the prosecutors at this table, and the 9/11 Twin Tower terrorists. I mean, I'm surprised the jury didn't just stand up and start singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
I represent Ms. Bell. It's between Ms. Zahn and Mr. Carter and you as to Mr. McNabb's fate. But I will say this. There are some serious holes in the investigation. There are some serious questions that I'm left.
Yeah, don't forget to hit like, Michelle. Did anyone forget to hit like? If you did, try to remember next time you come in, you like.
With. Among them are, well, who did it? When was it done? How was it done? These are things, this is not my, just making this up. These are facts that we don't know. No one can say when this happened. We have no murder weapon. And Mr. Carter's right, we don't have a motive. What on earth would ever possess anybody, whether it be Mr. McNabb, Mr. Kidd, Mr. whoever, to do what was done to that baby? I think that's the one thing I said in opening that every single one of us in this room would agree. This is one of the most heinous crimes I've ever been a part of, seen, heard about. But what would possess anyone to do that? They have offered nothing, no reasoning whatsoever that he's been a domestic violence abuser. Well, there are many people who do that. They don't often go off and do what was done to baby Kalia, and I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think it's necessary to keep reminding everybody of what did happen.
I mean, he's got a point. Like, the state are saying that because Cortney Bell allowed the babies to be around McNabb, who was violent to her, would lure people to the trailer for brass knuckle beatdowns. Yeah. I mean, there's something quite cartoonish about that, really. Do you think he's got a set of nunchucks as well? I bet he fucking does, doesn't he? Oh. Yeah. That he thinks are authentic. And it's like, fuckhead. They didn't have molded plastic in ancient samurai Japan.
Happened. It was horrible enough. But where did it happen? It's not likely it took place in the trailer. And if you do believe Mr. McNabb is the one who did it, he says that he went outside at some point. So did it happen inside, outside? We don't know these things. And it's not just one thing we don't know, it's many things. And then we get to the investigation. And Mickey Kitchens, I applaud him. He did not.
I mean, he's got strong language, posture. Nothing about his presentation is unsure, is it, really? And that's good. I think with his presentation, I mean, we'll watch it all the way through and form an opinion together, but, I'm surprised that they came back with a guilty verdict, with what the case was based on, and this closing presentation. I mean, if he'd have really fumbled it, and just fudged his way through like a Daniel Rashbaum. He's a bit like Daniel Rashbaum's older brother, isn't he? Like the bigger one. Two brothers. Can we get a picture of Daniel Rashbaum, please? Hang on. Soap. Go to the files. Go to the files. How do we do that? I can make this happen right now. It's the perfect moment as well. Where would it be? Google. 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 The answer is Google. Oh. Right, where is it? What do you think? Could they be brothers? The big one.
Do what I get so frustrated with when I'm trying to get an answer that is patently clear and the witness will not answer it. He said to Mr. Carter, you know what, I made a mistake. Good for him. Because there's not a person in this room, not one, who has not made mistakes. And if there is somebody who's thinking to themselves, I've never made a mistake, they're living and swimming in a river in Egypt. Denial. Because we've all made them. And we know it. Some are horrifying. Some might be, well, I accidentally parked in a parking space I shouldn't have parked in. The point is, he was man enough and a professional enough, more importantly, to say he should have done this. When Mr. Carter said, what if you were on trial? Wouldn't you want this done? You bet I would. You bet I would. So Mr. Carter made some incredibly good points. As far as one thing I do disagree with him is he said, we don't know what the state's going to argue. I know exactly what they're going to argue. They're going to argue he did it, and she set the table to let it happen. That's as simple as it gets, because that's a nice little package. That's like when you go to Kroger and you buy boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You don't have to go out and get your hands dirty, cut the head off the chicken, and...
I love it when they do this. I love it when a defense attorney comes in to make a closing argument and thinks, I know. How am I going to connect with the jury? I'll mention a local food market chain and talk about bags of boneless, skinless chicken breast. We're in the South. People love chicken. Everybody in this courtroom had chicken today. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Pluck its feathers and rip it apart, gut it, and do it. You just go in there and you buy a nice little sanitized plastic wrap dinner. It's easy. It's so easy, folks. But it's not. Because that's not how we work. We don't just rush to judgment. I'm sorry to borrow that.
What is he saying? That we have to pluck our own chickens? We're not going to do that, folks. We're not going to go into Kroger and buy those soulless packets of boneless, skinless chicken breast. We pluck our own feathers in this town. Oh. And then the bailiff comes in and hands each of the members of the jury their own live chicken that they have to kill and gut and pluck and hang right in the jury booth in front of the judge, who will give them, who will score them. Tune in next time to find out who won.
Phrase, but it's been used because it's true. We complete our investigation. We run down every lead. The theory is it is better for one guilty person to go free, 10 guilty people to go free than one innocent person ever spend a day in prison. That's our theory.
Yeah, don't mess that line up, man. If you get that backwards, you're it's not gonna. What did he say?
Been used because it's true. We complete our investigation. We run down every lead. The theory is it is better for one guilty person to go free, 10 guilty people to go free than one innocent.
He was going to say it's better for one guilty person to go free than 10 innocent people to go to jail.
Innocent person ever spend a day in prison. That's our theory. That's what makes us who we are in this country. And that is all you need to concern yourselves with. If the state didn't prove it, it isn't your fault. So you don't need to say, God, you know what? Dang, I don't feel good about this, but we got to rectify the situation somehow. So let's err on the side of caution. That would be not only violating your moral obligation, but it would be violating the charges that you are going to get from the court. And I know y'all don't want to do that. So, where to go with this? So much. Let's talk a little bit about reasonable doubt. And I'll be very brief about this because Mr. Carter did go over it. But reasonable doubt is a doubt for which a reason can be given arising from consideration of the evidence, a lack of the evidence, or a conflict in the evidence. If, considering the facts and circumstances of this case, your minds are wavering, unsettled, unsatisfied, that is a doubt of the law, and you must acquit. Hope that you will take those words to heart because they are critical. If you are sitting there thinking to yourself, I don't know, that's it right there. Stop. You're done. That's it. You must acquit. It's important that we get into this legal part of it. You are going to hear it, but you're going to hear it in a 35, 40-minute recitation from the court, all bundled all together. And So it's important that you know these things and that I spell them out to you. Not that I think that you're not smart enough to do that, but it's hard when you've got 40 minutes of just reading to catch everything. Now, I don't know what the response from the state will be. That I don't know. I know that they're probably behind me feverishly writing, both of them or all of them, about what they're going to say about how dumb I am and how this is just ludicrous. I noticed they were doing the same thing with Mr. Carter, and there may be colorful metaphors and, other examples that this is like this and this is like that and, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one in denial, and who knows? I don't know what'll happen. But that's really none of my business. That isn't going to change. And again, I hate to keep agreeing with I don't hate to agree with him, but again, agreeing with Mr. Carter, that's the facts that we have. And he's right about another thing. This I want, while you're listening to me, please consider. This is the last time that I will get to speak to you, just like it was for Mr. Carter. The state, right or wrong, gets the opportunity to speak to you last. They get to sift through every single thing we've said and try to find a way to knock it back and bring you back into the fold and tell you how crazy we are and tell you that we're throwing out things like red herrings and, putting, trying to put smoke in the air so that you'll be confused. That's not what I'm doing. In fact, we're going to go through their evidence. So you won't have to hear, it won't have to be my words. It'll be their own people's words, what they said, what they failed to say, what they proved, what they didn't prove. And that's what you need to pay attention to. Not me. I hope you pay attention to what I'm saying because I'm trying to put it all together for you. But let's look at what Ms. Bell is charged with. She is charged, in count 1, with murder in the second degree. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this particular charge we can't even get to unless you find her guilty of count 2, because it requires that she be in the commission of cruelty to children in the second degree by causing Kalia McNabb cruel and excessive physical pain through infliction upon her of a blunt force trauma to the head.
Man, I love his notes there. Look at that. That's like, I think I've seen some original early drafts of lyrics by the Beatles that look exactly like that. Where you can just tell that it's that it's capturing genius somehow, creative genius. Just scratchy notes, but somehow it's like Picasso. Picasso could screw up a piece of paper and throw it into the corner of the room, and somehow it would be a work of art. It's the same thing with the lawyer and his notes.
So, unless you find count 2, there is no count 1. And I hope you'll understand all this. This is a bit confusing. It's some of these charges are a little, I'd say they're kind of bootstrapped together, but that's just the way it is.
What does that even mean? Bootstrapped? Is that some kind of southern term that I don't understand because I don't wear boots with a suit? I'm amazed he's wearing an actual necktie.
So, and first of all, let me say this. If you find that someone else did this, other than their claim that Mr. McNabb did this, then there is no case against Miss Bell. Period. Because nothing that they proved would account for an accident or any of the other evidence that Mr. Carter put up, or I'm sorry, that during his cross-examinations, or any other, if anybody else did it, that's it. We're done. You can just take.
I gotta say that having a lawyer that looks like he's part bear probably isn't a bad thing, right? A big friendly bear in a suit. The type of bear that looks like he puts Cajun seasoning on his taste of wheat or any breakfast cereal. Cajun seasoning on everything.
Bells and toss it out the window. So, but getting back to it, count one.
Oh, that was quite a good one, actually. That little slide he put in there. What did he say?
Miss Bell. Period.
All right.
That's just the way it is. So, and first of all, let me say this. If you find that someone else did this, other than their claim that Mr. McNabb did this, then there is no case against Miss Bell. Period. Because nothing that they proved would account for an accident or any of the other evidence that Mr. Carter put up, or I'm sorry, that during his cross-examinations, or any other, if anybody else did it, that's it. We're done. You can just take Miss Bell's and toss it out the window.
Okay, that was great. And the reason it was great, what he was saying was, oh, and by the way, if you think Chris McNabb didn't do it, then you don't need to even consider my client. You just toss her verdict out the window. Now, this lawyer doesn't have a hope in hell, and he's aware of it, that Chris McNabb is not getting a guilty verdict. He knows that's happening. That's certain, right? But it's still good to say, because it just highlights the fact that without Chris McNabb, she has no connection to the murder. Right? It's good.
So, but getting back to it, count one really is irrelevant unless you find count two. And what is count two? Cruelty to children in the second degree. For that, on one specific day, 7th day of October, the day the child went missing, that she, with criminal negligence, and I want to read what criminal negligence is. Let me read the charge first. With criminal negligence, caused Kalia McNabb, child under the age of 18, cruel and excessive physical pain through the infliction upon her of blunt force trauma to the head. Well, what is criminal negligence? That is an act or failure to act which demonstrates willful. There is no willfulness in this case with regard to her. Wanton or reckless disregard for the safety of others who might reasonably be expected to be injured thereby. Now let's talk about that. A reasonable expectation. I'm going to argue vehemently, as strongly as I can, that under any circumstances, whether she'd been beaten, whether she had used drugs, whether he cheated on her, under any circumstances, how do you reasonably expect from what you've been given that someone is going to take your infant and do what was done to that child that you saw in those autopsy photos? Who can reasonably expect that? She didn't. She absolutely couldn't even believe it. You saw hours of tapes where she literally says, I don't understand this. Obviously there was a lot of tears, a lot of emotion, and I'll spare you that reenactment. But she was blown away. And we all watch the news. I mean, domestic violence is it's not like this is the first.
Do I like his delivery? Well, I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm surprised it didn't. I'm surprised that the jury came back guilty, is what I'm saying, because his presentation is. I mean, he's got a good case to work with, so it should be easy for him to do. I mean, it seems like they overreached charging her with malice murder just because the father of the children was abusive. Especially as it was the father of the children as well. I mean, if it was just some dog off the street and she brought him into the home, maybe. But, would it be foreseeable that he would beat a 14-day-old baby in the head to stop it crying because he was on meth? Just because he beat on her and beat people in the head with brass knuckles? I mean, that's violence, but against adults. I mean, it does happen a lot.
Oh my God, this is domestic violence? I've never even heard of that before. We see it on TV daily. High government officials, athletes, performers, and it doesn't come out for months and months and months and months. I wonder, do any of those people think that someone might just go completely savagely insane and do something like that to their children? I'd submit to you the answer is absolutely not. There was an intervening cause here. I don't know who. And that, again, I'm not getting into that fight. What I do know is there was an intervening cause here far greater than, say, a mother who has 3 kids between the ages of 1 and 4 and a pool, a 20-foot deep pool in the backyard, and she just ignores them for hours and hours and hours. Drowning seems kind of likely. Or if you want to let your child go swimming in the ocean where people are chumming for sharks, well, there's a good chance since there's tons of blood in the water, that's probably a bad idea. This is not that situation. This is not at all that situation. Because she was beaten, because she did drugs, she's supposed to know that him or anyone else would do that, commit that heinous crime, beat an infant so savagely that her teeth came through her tongue, lips, that she's unrecognizable. And again, we don't even know what happened there. We have no motive. They can't establish one. They haven't even offered one. Not even a glimpse of one. So how is she supposed to know? The answer is she didn't. At all. Count 3 is contributing to the deprivation of a minor because allegedly, on this date, this isn't just like all the time, okay? You got to remember, these are specific dates. This child went missing on October 7th, 2017. that she allegedly willfully failed to provide proper parental care or control for Kalia. I'm going to stop there because there's a lot of ands in this one. And when there's a lot of ands, that means every single thing needs to be proven. Failed to provide proper parental care. The child was sleeping by every account, and so was my client. She took roughly 4 to 4.5 hours to sleep. 4 to 4.5 hours. I get it. She's an infant. I've had many kids. Well, I haven't. My wife has. But those moments when you finally get a newborn to get a couple hours of sleep, and you fall asleep so that you're not sleep deprived, that doesn't make you a bad parent. It doesn't make you failing to provide proper parental care. No. I think if we put our common sense hats on, we'll all realize that we've probably all taken, with newborns, young children, infants, we've taken that time to sleep when we can, when they're sleeping.
We've got another prosecuting attorney with, I want to say decent hair. Michelle, what do you think? The lady down there in the dark coat, in the dark jacket, with the yellow papers and pink, what do you call those? Tabs.
And as far as she knew, that child was sleeping. She said to Chris, go check on the baby. It wasn't as if she was asleep for 24 hours.
The honey monster. Now I remember where I've seen that face. Well, not that one. Hang on.
Or she was missing from the house, or she just didn't care, or she was knocked out cold. She went to bed at 5:30 a.m.
Whoa, now we're talking. Okay, we've got to bring up the honey monster. Or Hamish from Braveheart, right? Well, close. If Daniel Rashbaum was this guy's younger brother, then the honey monster is his great uncle. Right? I mean, it's in the ballpark, right? I'm going to leave it up.
And she was up and calling 911 at, I believe it was 10:32. That is
I love that we've got a close-up right now. That's great. I think it's the only time that happens, and it just happens to be at this perfect moment.
It wasn't as if she was asleep for 24 hours, or she was missing from the house, or she just didn't care, or she was knocked out cold. She went to bed at 5:30 a.m. and she was up and calling 911 at, I believe it was 10:32. That is hardly failing to provide proper parental care. But in addition to having to prove that, they have to prove that she failed to provide said child with adequate supervision necessary for such child's well-being. Said act, in the failure to do that, the act.
Those are called legal pads, are they, Michelle? Or why don't they call it something easier to remember?
Apparently, and I'll use the same argument. There was no failed supervision. She was down the hall. She was sleeping. Mom had a couple of hours to sleep. She took it. That does not make her a murderess or set the table for a murder in any way, shape, or form. And that resulted in her being a deprived child. There's a lot of people out there who are going to be in a lot of trouble if that's the new state of the law. And of course, then it goes into in accordance with Code Section 1511.2 of the Fish Code of Georgia. But yet there's another and. And that act or failed to act. Well, they say that act, so we'll go with that. Resulted in the death of the child. No. No, I'll tell you what resulted in the death of the child. Someone taking that child and inflicting such unbelievable force, whether it be a fist or, as the ME said, a boot or a heavy object, over and over and over, to inflict such incredible damage that it caused death. It wasn't my client sleeping for 4 hours. And let me say something.
Like when he just said over and over and over. I want to put the honey monster big just for that moment.
Force, whether it be a fist or, as the ME said, a boot or a heavy object, over and over and over, to inflict such incredible damage that it caused death. It wasn't my client sleeping for 4 hours. And let me say something else. I've got a lot more to say, actually, but my client getting beat up did not cause.
I guess the charge originally came from when the 911 operator says, "What, you just woke up at 12?" And Cortney says, "Yeah, the last time I got up with the baby was about 5. And then she slept." But of course, the cops go, sleeping in the day, meth head, strung out, negligent, murder, arrested. And it just may have been an overreach. If they'd have charged her with less, she could have been held for longer, because now that the conviction's been overturned, they can't go back and say, hey, we want to get you now for murder by negligence. Then that gets overturned, and then we're going, okay, we want to get you by now murder by dependency. I mean, it would just go on and on.
This child's death.
We don't do that in this country. They always love to say that, don't they? Has he done the Twin Towers thing yet?
My client, even using those drugs on the occasion she did, child didn't ingest any of them. The child, that didn't cause the child's death. Her being cheated on, her living in a mobile home, did not cause that child's death.
Well, I bet the child was ingesting them while she was pregnant.
And last I checked, living in mobile homes, coming from an abysmal socioeconomic life or demographic.
An abysmal socioeconomic life. What's wrong with the carnival? I bet he goes every year. It's all right for entertainment, isn't it? But as a way of life, it's abysmal, apparently. Oh. But there is clearly a lot of inbreeding going on in this community, that's for sure. You know, everyone is a question. And the question is, how many relatives of yours cross over where they shouldn't? Everyone says, I got 7 kids by 8 daddies. 2 of the daddies are twins, so one of them is his own nephew, stepbrother, and brother-in-law. I mean, it's quite fascinating.
Being beaten, and not reporting it, as she probably should have done, those aren't illegal. They're not. Because that's the smoke and mirrors they want you to believe. What caused that child's death is, simply put, according to the indictments, blunt force trauma to the head. And you saw it. That's what caused the death. And there has not been one shred of evidence that suggests that my client, Miss Bell, did anything to harm that child. So as much as they want to pack on for how horrible a mother she is, she didn't cause that child's death. And they're going to say, well, she set the table. She set out the steak knives for a steak dinner, and somebody at that dinner table picked one up and stabbed the person next to him. How is that her fault? It's not. It's the crazy person sitting there that picked up the steak knife or the wine glass or the plate or whatever they used and smashed it over their head or stabbed them or did whatever. That's who killed Kalia McNabb, not my client. But the mother can't go. It couldn't just be dad in this situation, because they really don't know. And they weren't taking any chances as a state, taking any chances here to, so they just accused them all. Made up what they could. There is no bright line test that I could find on what is reckless disregard or any of that stuff. You folks will be making the decision in this case, not every case or any future or past, whatever cases, this case. It'll be up to you to make that decision. But I submit to you that as far as her indictment, there just isn't anything there. Ms. Zahn's going to argue it, and she will do a good job, I'm sure, saying that.
Yeah, she'll do a good job when the state gets up here with their smoke and mirrors. She'll do a good job of warping reality and using clever, words. She'll do a good job of pulling the wool over your eyes, Jerry. We don't let that happen in this country, Jerry.
If this, then that, and but for this, well, guess what? That's not how we operate. There's a whole lot of what ifs and but fors that could prevent a million tragedies. But we don't blame everybody. What if somebody had done something aboard the planes in 9/11? I don't know. Then, if they lived, then should we blame them? No.
Here we go.
No, we shouldn't. It was the people who hijacked them and ran them into buildings. That's who we blame. That's who we hold accountable.
That's who we blame, Jerry. Not my client for 9/11. Oh, I love it. How to win any argument. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at those hijacking terrorists. Oh, say, can you see?
My client got up. She called 911. Well, first she called her father. Did you come get the baby? Did you, because there was some discussion about that. She kept hoping and hoping Kalia would be found. Because all she knew was that she had gone missing. She asked detective investigator Alexander, the lead investigator, can I have your number? Can you update me? Have you found it? Have the dogs found anything? Have you found anything? She had no.
I love how he managed to do a pretty good job of injecting his own urgency into that quoted representation. Can you update me? Have the dogs found anything? Have you found anything? You know, she called once to ask if she left her phone in the cop car. You found my phone yet? I can't call no one. How am I calling you? On my phone. Oh, I found it.
No idea. I mean, I hope this part of my argument is you're saying to yourself, yeah, I got all that. But in case you're not, she stayed interested. There was no complicity.
Yeah, I bet that's what you're hoping. No, I hope at this part of my argument, Jerry, that you're already thinking, yeah, I got all that. I'm with you, defense. I got you. I got all that. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do, defense. I'm going back there. Give me questions. I'm not coming out of that room until I get 12 not guilty. Not guilty. Because I'm with you, defense. I hope at this time y'all are listening to me and saying, yeah, I got all that. Tell us what to do. Tell us what to do, defense.
Well, we'll get to that. Bear with me just a moment, folks. Well, there's a few more charges I want to go over with you. You're also going to hear...
Hey, hummingbird. What are you humming about? Analogy man. I love that. We got to put that on a t-shirt and a mug. Analogy man. Writing it down. Or anology. The study of anal. What is it? Analogy man. Got it. Good.
Charges about intent. Again, I've made my arguments on the indictments, but intent is an essential element of any crime, must be proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. You're going to hear that. You're going to...
State's going to get up here and argue to the jury. Jury, she intended to live like a pig. A pig on meth. She did that with full intent, jury. She was a pig on meth on purpose.
Here that there is no presumption of any criminal intent. The defendant will not be presumed to have acted with any criminal intent. You're going to hear things about guilt by mere association. Mere association by a person with other persons involved in the commission of a crime, if in fact he did have anything.
Oh, look at that. Hummingbird is showing us a Scottish flag. Maybe I should move to Scotland. Hummingbird, what do you think? I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking maybe I should move to Scotland. Maybe that would be better. What do you think? I think I could make it work.
To do with it, which again, like I said, I'm not involved in that. without more, will not authorize a jury to find such person guilty of consent in or concurrence in the commission of the crime, unless the evidence shows beyond a reasonable doubt that such person helped in the actual perpetration of the crime or participated in the criminal endeavor. Then you've got something called mere presence at the scene of the crime. Basically what this means is that my client being associated with him, my client being in the trailer, does not make her guilty, no matter how hard they're going to try to tell you she set the table, she did this, if not for this, then that, and whatever arguments she's going to come up with. Grave suspicion. Facts and circumstances which merely place upon the defendant a grave suspicion of the crime charged, or that merely raise speculation or conjecture of the defendant's guilt, are not sufficient to authorize conviction of the defendant. That is a very important charge. And I hope you listen clearly. I won't reread it a dozen times, but grave suspicion, it's not enough. I can't stress these things enough. The burden is incredibly high for them. She's going to say, well, it's not a mathematical certainty. It's not this, that, or the other thing. No, it's not. But it's so high that if you're wavering, unsettled, dissatisfied, or have grave suspicion or speculation or conjecture, you can't find her guilty by law. If you want to disobey that, I can't help that. But that will be the law you're read. Not that I think that it's going to be that close. I hope. Let's see, bear with me. In a minute, I want to go through exactly what evidence did come out. I just don't want to miss anything that just going over again the situation. Please remember, the medical examiner, she did the autopsy. I think there was probably 2 or 3 critical elements, definitely 2. One was that there was no sign of any previous abuse. The other was that she reviewed the pediatric records from like the Thursday before. Just a couple, that had occurred just prior to her death. The child was fine. The child was in good health. You heard that from just about everybody. And the state brought that out. This child was fine. To show, I guess in their effort to try to, convict Mr. McNabb, to show that it wasn't some, to exclude the possibility of she might have been sick or whatever. So the point being, the child was fine. Well, what does that tell you? Clarissa, she's fine. And she was fine, and she's 2. So that kind of flies and contradicts their argument about my client being so bad and her situation being so bad that this should have been seen a mile away. And again, I don't think anyone would have seen this coming. And again, whatever drugs she did and however many, times she did them, the only thing that really matters is what happened on that particular day. And on that particular day, whatever she did, however little she did, was so bad that she was able to do what she had to do. Bless you. And she stayed up with the baby until 5:30. The baby didn't die of the drugs that my client did. The baby didn't die of any previous beatings that my client sustained. The baby didn't die over my client sleeping for 4.5 hours. Again, we know how that baby died. We saw how that baby died. And may she rest in peace, but it wasn't right. That's simple as it is. It was heartbreaking. My client is guilty of one thing. She is guilty of being a foolhardy, almost, and that's putting it politely, very foolish young woman.
What would be impolitely? My client is retarded. Retarded would be too smart.
Who thought she was in love and who has no idea what love is. Love is not being in love. Love is not caring about somebody who is literally doesn't care about you more than they care about a car, or their kids more than they care about a PT Cruiser. And you heard those tapes and her begging. She wanted a nuclear family.
Yeah, I don't think there is actually a family member or friend in this story that Chris McNabb hasn't at one point tried to trade for a PT Cruiser, which he called the Methmobile. Jump in the Methmobile. That's literally what he called it.
She wanted what she didn't have. Her father did the best he could, but that's tough. That's real tough. She didn't even know who her mother was until she was a teenager. And unfortunately, that led to the situation between these two, which they didn't even know about until after they were seeing each other. But none of that even really matters.
What, the fact that they're first cousins? They didn't even know about that until after the second child was born. Well, they should. You know, keep an eye out at family functions, weddings, funerals. Somebody's got to die around here. Or get married to their brother. Oh. It's because they all look alike, isn't it?
We're here about Kalia, but the
They all have the same deformity.
point is, my client foolishly, naively thought she was going to fix a person who is serially cheating, didn't care about her at all,
See, this is a bit like Jodi Arias when the defense got up there and said, hey, jury, Jodi Arias is guilty of having a horrible taste in men, about having horrible taste in men. But that doesn't make her a killer or psycho, jealous, crazy bitch. What it does make her, jury, is normal, okay? Totally normal range.
as per every action just about that he took, she didn't know. You saw how, and I'm not trying to disparage people of lower socioeconomic levels or income levels, but you were out there. You saw how folks out there live. They don't have the same norm that many of us do. Many of the things that we think of as obvious aren't obvious to them.
Okay, Hummingbird, tell me, what's the cheapest place to live in Scotland, but that's still nice? Nature's nice. And what about the police? Do they take a bribe? Is there a special signal? Do I just show him a haggis wrapped in a £50 note?
Out there, even in some of the churches, they advise, well, you stay and you work your problems out with domestic violence. Oh, he's a drinker? Well, then you pray for his soul. Because divorce is a sin. I mean, they weren't married, but the point being, they have children together. You stay together. Or, in her case, you just have no guidance whatsoever and you do the best you can. But you heard how many times she said, you know, Daddy. That's what she called him. Daddy, please come home. Please come home. She was just a fool. She was a fool to ever think she was going to have a nuclear family with him. That I will give you. But that is all she's guilty of. She never wanted anything to happen to her kids, and she never thought in a million years that their father, if he even did it, could do something like that. She never, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, the reasonable expectations. And you see that in some of those tapes, when she starts hearing things and seeing things online, she takes a phone call from him and she gives him the what for. Big time. Did you do this? There's no other explanations. Now, I'm not saying there isn't.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, she probably beat him in the head more often than he did her anyway, so. And with brass knuckles.
Other explanations. I'm simply saying what she said. But she starts asking all those right questions, which evidence is to you, since you heard her. She didn't want anything to happen to this child or her other child. And nothing did happen to the other child, which begs other questions. Why would you harm one child instead of both? Or all four of them, for that matter? Or everybody? And if it was him, how about all three? I don't know. But that's just it. We don't know. But I get distracted. So let's focus back on these counts, this criminal negligence, and this disregard, reckless disregard. She didn't see any of this coming. That's all there is to it. Was she stupid for loving this man? Probably, yes. And she's probably behind me right now making some sort of face that isn't real happy about being called that. But the point is, because she was in a bad relationship, Ms. Zahn's going to tell you that bad relationship where she suffered domestic abuse, but the children didn't. There's been no evidence whatsoever that either of those children did. So,
Well, one of them was 2 years old, and the other was 14 days. So it was coming. It was definitely on the way. The child abuse was just a couple of short years away down the line.
So if she wanted to take that, I think it's crazy. You all may think it's insane. We might all think it's stupid and crazy and unbelievable. But it's obviously rampant. Here in the United States, we have a whole month devoted.
There's this strange part in the interrogation of Chris McNabb where, he's decided that his best bet is to go with the I'm a family-loving, good dad kind of guy, right? But he doesn't really know what that looks like. So when he's trying to act like it himself, it just ends up with this really almost fairy tale. And then I came in and I sang the child a lullaby. But the weird bit is when he's talking about changing the kid, and he makes a real point of hitting home how he won't touch her like privates, And he's like, oh, I wouldn't touch her there. It just seems wrong, Well, not if it's your own child, and the fact that you're making a point of it makes me worried. You know?
To domestic violence. It isn't something that just happens here or, you know, in sporadic times. It's all over. It's an epidemic. So, again, well,
I think that's what he's done right. He's come into this argument with the kind of attitude of like, I can't believe that I've got to be the one to stand up here and save my client because the system got it wrong. And the fact that I've got to stand here and even argue this case is an insult to the justice system and proof that we need reform, right? We can't have people slip through the net like this anymore. Enough is enough, Georgia. You know, that's the right kind of posture to have in this case. Well, you know, for her, for his client in this case, yeah.
some other things I want to point out, kind of.
I mean, it's funny because he's making a good point, but the jury went the other way. But then the appellate court agreed with him, so there wasn't enough evidence tying her legally to the murder.
Along the lines of the investigation, you know, I don't know that it really particularly matters, but my client was let's see exactly what. A lot of witnesses. Gary Morgan, person put on what I thought was a most entertaining and amazing technological 3D look at the trailer. Stated, my client was 33.529 feet, it's pretty exact, from the location where Kalia was sleeping. Also said that there was 3 walls, 1, 2, 3, between where my client was and the baby. Now keep in mind the baby was also sleeping really close to a wall unit AC. I don't know, we don't know whether it was on or off. We just don't. It's Georgia. It could have been 100 degrees out that night or 50. But we don't know. But if it was running, a wall unit and a trailer.
Is that right, is it? Temperatures just go up and down in Georgia. That must be annoying.
I'm guessing there could have been banging and rattling and all kinds of racket going on back there. The 2-year-old didn't wake up to it. You know, so again, this goes back to, should my client have known? No. No. Again, there is nothing wrong with getting a few hours of sleep while your infant is sleeping or your newborn or toddler or whatever. Parents are allowed to sleep. Now, granted, you don't get much when you got little kids, but we're not talking about 6, 8, 10, 14, 18, 24 hours. 4 to 4.5 hours. That's it. But the state's going to try to extrapolate that out like they will with everything. My client, there's no evidence. My client was so strung out on drugs that night that even if she were sober, she could have had any idea that any of this went on. That's what you need to think about. Because that's not how they're going to bring it out. They're going to be like, it was doing the drug, they package it all up, like I said, like that nice plastic wrap set of chicken breasts. doing drugs, getting beat up. She clearly saw this coming. No. So what do we have? Let's go through. 911 operator was the first witness, and that was my client calling because she worried sick about her kids, obviously. Tim Bell, he did have quite a bit to say, and he pulled no punches. But he did say he'd never seen my client abuse her children, or even that he had ever seen the children abused, period. And that she wasn't a loving and affectionate mother. I mean, did she have problems? Sure, she did. And like Mr. Carter said, we made that known from the beginning. That's why halfway through this trial, I started thinking, gosh, I got to find something to say to half these witnesses other than no questions. But it didn't apply. I didn't have questions for people when they were talking about with these 20.
Another good tactic: keep the case quiet. Right? If you don't have things to ask witnesses, don't ask unnecessary questions. But explain to the judge. Didn't need to ask because they didn't have anything against my client. It was all him. Good, I like it.
Maps
Christina, hello.
Where was this and how
Right
did this
in here
happen?
as
My
well.
client wasn't
Hello.
charged with any of that. And I hope y'all understand that.
Other
If
people.
not, that's, well, I don't want to take all the blame, but I went through the indictment to let you know my client is.
You want to take all the honey Rice Krispie fucking cakes, though, don't you? Honey Monster. Have you seen it, Christina? We've got this guy's, what is it? Great uncle, the Honey Monster. Look at him. They have the exact same voice and love of anything sticky. Oh. Yeah.
In charge in any way, shape, or form with committing the act. Just with, however they're going to phrase it, setting a table, which, of course.
Yeah, however they're going to phrase it. That crazy state, they got nothing. So what do? They phrase it, yeah? Setting the table. She set the table for the murder by letting that meth thug into her life. It's like, well, yeah, but they lived together and he was the dad. So, I don't know. Like if she'd invited a gangster who had a reputation for murdering children in their sleep, and he was high on meth at her property, on her property, you know, then you could say, yeah, that was like throwing the baby in with the rattlesnake. But when it's the own dad and they live together, I mean, that just sounds like, what are you going to do? He beat the shit out of you, so you should have known that he would kill the baby. Yeah, I think they overcharged. And I think if they hadn't have overcharged, and they'd have just said, hey, listen, you know, you're going away for child neglect and ending in death. You're getting 15 years. You'll be out in 12 and a half. She probably wouldn't have even bothered appealing that. But the murder conviction she did. And the murder conviction got overturned. Would the lesser charge have got overturned? No. Because it was a lesser charge. Now, she can't be charged again. And it's just out there. Loose. No. Making communities unsafe. And probably driving recklessly. And, you know, shoplifting. Petty crime. You know. She has been arrested since, not for charges relating to the original case, but drug charges. Surprise.
I've gone through, and I hope that you are on the same page with me on that. He confirms, yeah, she called me, and then I told her, get off the phone right away, call 911. Johnny Evans, owner of the mobile home park. Wasn't much there. He owned the mobile home. And this, again, is for my defense, not necessarily for the co-defendant. There's another 911 operator. She wanted her kids back. She was having a little back and forth with her father. Understandable. It had to do with the fact that surprise, surprise, Tim Bell did not really approve of Mr. McNabb. I wonder why. Well, if you're a father, and you know your daughter's getting beaten on and living over there, and that's with him, with what was going on and all the shadiness and whatever, I'm pretty sure you're going to be upset. And you're probably going to take the car back. And you're probably going to question, as I asked him, why are you paying for everything? Good question. Wish I knew that myself. But they're my grandkids, and I'm not going to let them suffer. So there were problems there. We're not going to, that doesn't make my client guilty of these charges. Not even a little bit. Derek Bartlett.
Not even a little bit.
He answered the custodial interference call. Now this is one where he came out and he said, maybe we should do this as work this out, instead of anybody going to jail or whatever. And my client agreed. And the kids ended up going with their dad that night. I'm sorry, with her father, Tim Bell. Yes, sir. Megan Sorrells, again, she said that Cortney kept them always fed, clean, brought supplies, etc. And also that when they were having problems, there were several witnesses, and I'll try to condense some of these, that said, yes, when they were having the problems, Cortney would lean on us. That's a responsible act. If you're going to have the problems, take advantage of your family. And folks, I could go on and on, but I think I've covered a lot of this. So I'll leave you with.
I could go on and on, jury, but I think I've covered a lot of this big file that I have here. Just wanted to leave you with a lasting indicator that I had a lot more that I could have said. A lot more proof, evidence, and reasons that you should vote not guilty of my big file.
With this, those charges, I've gone over them, I've discussed why I believe my client is not guilty of these, and I'll ask you, to go back in there, deliberate, discuss all this.
Consider supporting your favorite channel through PayPal. Consider it. And then decide, yes. Decide. Consider could still end in a no, couldn't it? You could be like, I considered it and I decided not to support the channel. I can get it for free, so why would I?
And I will ask you to return a verdict of not guilty on all counts as to Cortney Bell. And please remember the intricacies of that, of what I've said. And again, I don't know what the state's going to rebut with. But please understand one thing.
Please remember the intricacies of honey-drizzled baked goods. Remember the recipes I said in opening statements? I want you to all to go home and sample those.
Nothing my client did caused that death. We all know, all of you know, what caused that child's death. And it's nothing that my client did or could have prevented. She had every right to keep her kids. There's no way that she could have seen an intervening cause like whoever did.
Yeah, Michelle was saying that she doesn't like this attorney, or maybe she wasn't quite that direct, but I think he's pretty good. I mean, he does not fumble. He's maintaining his position, strong words, strong posture. I think he's done a pretty capable job there. I'd give it at least a 7. I think more of an 8 out of 10. For a defense, for a murder defense closing statement, I mean, he had some things in his favor, I think, with the case, because the state seems to have overcharged, which is backed up by the fact that the appellate courts overturned the conviction. I bet they wish they went in lower, huh? Just give us a child abuse charge. That'll do 10 years. Yeah, but now she's just out there, loose, on meth.
That to the child, whether it be Mr. McNabb or anybody else. And if it wasn't Mr. McNabb, there's definitely no way. And again, if it wasn't Mr. McNabb, then there's nothing for you to even consider. It's not guilty, not guilty, not guilty for my client. Very simple.
Very simple. Very simple. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. So simple I had to say it 3 times. Very simple. If you don't think Mr. McNabb did it, which, like, there's no way that anybody in this room thinks, do you think they might vote not guilty on McNabb? Like, he's done. He's so done.
So please, try your best.
But it's still a good thing to say. Hey, jury, if that guy that you know is going to jail, that we all know is going to jail, if he's not guilty, which he definitely is, then, you know, my client, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. You don't even need to think about it. Although he knows, and the whole room knows, McNabb is going away, and that example that he's framed won't matter in, you know, in the scenario that it's proposing. But he's created a split by highlighting that proposal that's impossible. If McNabb doesn't go down, my client is not guilty. It's kind of seems pointless because we know McNabb is going down. But it's not pointless because even though McNabb is going down, that example still separates his client from the crime. If McNabb was out of the picture, she's not guilty. I.e., she didn't do anything on her own accord. Of her own accord. I like it.
To remember what I've gone over, at least consider my arguments and my position on this on behalf of Ms. Bell. I thank you again for your time and your consideration. Thank you.
This time we're going to take a morning recess for a short period. Y'all go back into the jury room. Don't discuss this case while you're back there.
And don't discuss honey. Not in front of that defense lawyer. It's his weakness. He hasn't had sticky fingers for a week. Okay, should we look at Shane Kidd? Because this guy was a whole new level of something. I have never seen anything quite like it in a courtroom. I mean, you'll see. I mean, talk about not wanting to be here. Like...
About the truth stop you got?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you slide up a little bit to that microphone? Please state your name for the record.
Jeremy Shane Kidd,
Mr. Kidd, how old are you?
41,
How many children do you have?
6.
What are their age ranges? From young, just the
19,
youngest and the
19 to
oldest?
4.
Yeah, what was I going to say?
Are you currently employed?
Well, my oldest is 31 and my youngest is 7 months.
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
Surveying.
Do you know Christopher McNabb?
Yes.
How do you know him?
I was good friends with his uncle and his dad.
So, who was his father?
Mike McNabb.
And you said you were good friends with them. What do you mean by that?
Well, I ain't seen him. I hadn't seen him recently up until I seen Chris again for, I don't know, about 15 years.
Okay. So is that somebody that you used?
I mean, I think this is the kind of guy that knows how to catch a catfish with his bare hands by reaching in its hole, right? He knows that that catfish could just take off his arm with one bite. But he doesn't care. He reaches right into that thing's mouth and pulls it out of its hole by its own teeth and takes a bite out of its tail.
To hang out with or associate
Yep.
with?
Yep.
And did you see Chris when he was a child?
Yes.
And how long have you known Chris for?
Since he was about 7.
Okay. And what about Cortney Bell? Do you know her?
Yes.
How do you know her?
Noodling, yeah, that's the term. That's the term. He's a what do you call them? A prize noodler.
Her mom, through Pam.
Okay. Do you know her father as well?
Yes.
Is it fair to say then that you know both of their families on each side?
Right.
Okay. Now, in the fall of 2017, were you hanging around with Christopher McNabb?
Yes.
What was the nature of y'all's relationship? What were,
We just
besides being
Meth.
friends, what did y'all do together?
got high.
I'm sorry.
Got high.
Got high? Okay. And what did you get high on?
Meth.
All right. Now,
Are you on meth right now? Is that a microphone in front of you or a pipe? Put the pipe down, son.
I'm going to draw your attention back to September the 13th of 2017. Do you recall an occasion where you saw Matthew Lester?
Yes.
Now, was there some sort of a beef between Timmy Rushton and Matthew Lester?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury what that was about?
Matt was with Timmy's mama, and anyways, Timmy told her that don't put his hands on his mama, and Matt did, and they got Timmy did what he needed to do again.
Okay. So what did Timmy need to do?
Bite him.
Okay. Were you involved in getting Matthew Lester set up in a position where he could be beat up?
I guess.
Tell the members of the jury what happened that day.
Timmy called me and asked me if I'd seen Matt, and I told him yeah, and he told me what had happened between Matt and his mom, and wanted me to bring him to him, and I told him that it ain't my car, I can't do it. Anyways, I told him to call Chris, and him and Chris talked and set it up to go back to Chris and Courtney's trailer, and that's where it happened at.
Okay. Now, were you at the trailer on that day?
Yes.
So how did Matt get to the trailer?
Me, Chris, and Courtney picked him up on 142, and he went back with us.
Okay. Now, what about the little girl? Are you familiar with Clarissa and also Kalia?
Yes.
Okay.
Michelle, I don't think a man like this has parents. A man like this was left in a local sandwich shop as a child. And he was just raised there. I mean, not even by the people that owned the sandwich shop, just customers that would, let him have the end piece. And they taught him everything he knew and made him the man he is today. What's with that shirt? What does that shirt look like if you're on meth? It's like an optical illusion already. I see lines. Lines of meth.
With respect to Clarissa, was she there that day at the trailer?
Yes, she was in, her and Courtney sat in the car.
Okay. And was Timmy Rushton already there at the trailer when y'all got back with Matt Lester?
No.
So what happened?
We went inside, me, Chris, and Matt went inside. I sat down, I was playing Chris's Xbox, and Matt was sitting in a chair on the other side of the living room, and probably 10, 15 minutes later.
He wore his Sunday best. Yeah, let me check that out. I mean, it's very clean, isn't it? I wouldn't be able to keep that clean for 10 minutes.
Chris walked outside, and when he didn't come back in first. Timmy came through the door first, and they started fighting, and then Chris jumped in, and he had a pair of brass knuckles and started hitting Matt. Anyways, they fought all the way down the hallway. When they got to the end of the hall.
What? Hang on, don't skip over that. Anyway, he had on a pair of brass knuckles and started hitting Matt. Anyway, when I went down the hallway... whoa, rewind, man. What do you mean? It's just such a normal day. Anyway, he had on a pair of brass knuckles and started hitting Matt in the face. Crushed his eye socket. The doctors, they couldn't even put in a glass one. It was mangled so bad. So anyway, that was Tuesday.
Rushton already there at the trailer when y'all got back with Matt Lester?
No.
So what happened?
We went inside, me, Chris, and Matt went inside. I sat down, I was playing. Chris and Courtney picked him up on 142, and he went back with us.
Okay. Now, what about the little girl? Are you familiar with Clarissa and also Kalia?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to Clarissa, was she there that day at the trailer?
Yes, she was in, her and Courtney sat in the car.
Okay. And was Timmy Rushton already there at the trailer?
Oh, I get it, Michelle. Is that fake? Is it? That's not real. So I was thinking, if that's real, then, I mean, that would be like $150 nowadays, right? Or more. I mean, how much would that be from Ralph Lauren? Because it's not even just like a normal Ralph Lauren shirt. It's like a, you know, I don't even, what do you call it? What do you call it when there's a line? That's from their yacht club line, right? Right?
Trailer when y'all got back with Matt Lester?
No.
So what happened?
We went inside, me, Chris, and Matt went inside. I sat down, I was playing Chris's Xbox, and Matt was sitting in a chair on the other side of the living room, and probably 10, 15 minutes later, Chris walked outside, and when he didn't come back in first. Timmy came through the door first, and they started fighting, and then Chris jumped in, and he had a pair of brass knuckles and started hitting Matt. Anyways, they fought all the way down the hallway. When they got to the end of the hallway, Chris opened up the back door and kicked Matt out the back door.
Okay. Now,
And all of this happened while he was playing Xbox. And what I want to know is, in his Xbox game, if he was hitting someone with brass knuckles inside of a trailer, because I'm sure I've seen that in a video game, that exact thing. Or maybe they were just on meth and there was no fight and he thought they were in the video game. I've heard about that happening too.
were you beating up on Matt Lester?
No.
What were you doing?
I kept playing Xbox.
I'm sorry, you kept playing Xbox?
Yeah. It wasn't none of my business.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the occasional blood splattered across my face, but, you know, I was there to play Xbox, okay? So I wasn't taking a break from Xbox time, okay? There was a bloody brawl going on 3 feet away from my face.
Do you recall what you were playing?
Call of Duty.
Now, do you remember whether there was blood there in the trailer?
Call of Duty, huh? There's something ironic about this guy even saying those words. Call of Duty. I hope to God this guy doesn't have any duties whatsoever. Not even basic ones like washing his own car. Okay, which he probably has never done.
Not really, no.
Do you remember how, was Matt Lester injured just slightly or severely?
Yeah, he was, when I seen it, when he posted pictures on Facebook, he looked pretty bad.
Okay, but that day, did you actually see him before he got kicked out of the trailer?
Not really.
Are you familiar with the way the trailer is set up there? You talked about that hallway. Where were y'all at in the trailer when Timmy and Chris rushed in?
In the living room.
I'm a father of 6. I need to focus on my Xbox. It was the call of duty, Christina. He had to step up. The bell rang and he was called upon for duty.
Okay. And what hallway are you referring to now?
The only hallway in the trailer.
Where does it go to?
To their bedroom.
What hallway are you referring to? Lady, have you ever seen a trailer? The whole thing is a hallway. It's just one hallway with a couple of dividers, okay? And one of them's a curtain. There was more privacy in the tenement house. Where Leonardo DiCaprio was born.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 22. You have a screen in front of you. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the doorway? Which doorway did Chris and Timmy come in? That porch doorway or the one on the back side?
That one.
Okay. And when you talk about him being kicked out of the trailer, was that on the same side or is that on the opposite
It was
side?
on the opposite side.
So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 24. Is that the opposite side of the trailer?
Yes.
Okay.
Spacey Dove, fly by night. How you doing?
And where exactly was Timmy seated in the residence? Matt seated in the residence when he got jumped.
In a chair, like right across from the front door.
Okay, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 33. Do you recognize that as the inside of the trailer?
Yes.
What chair was he in?
That one right there.
Okay, can you mark that on your screen if you touch
It
it?
ain't on the screen.
I'm sorry?
It's not on the screen.
The chair's not on the screen?
No, the picture ain't on the screen.
You don't see it on your screen?
Nope.
Okay.
Is it on? No. Can somebody come up here and check his screen?
Mistrial.
Okay. Now,
Release the
I'm
meth
gonna
head.
get clear here. And
Your Honor, I want this filed for the appellate courts. His screen was not on. Too many loopholes for these badges, huh? What do you think, Spacey Dove? She was convicted and sent to prison forever. No parole. But then, that was in 2019, sent to prison forever, no parole, murder, malice murder. You killed your baby by letting a meth head rage thug into your home. But the thing is, that he was the father and they all lived together. And they're saying, well, he beat the shit out of you, so you should have known that he was about to kill that 14-day-old baby. And it's like, they haven't even gotten used to the baby yet, They just left it with a friend for the first 6 days of its life. Until her dad phoned her up and said, "What do you mean you left your baby with a friend? It's just been born. Go and get the baby." Anyway, they arrested her, tried her, convicted her, sent her to prison forever. Georgia appellate courts in 2022 said, not enough evidence to tie her to the legally tie her to the murder, right? So set her free. But if the state had gone in lower and just charged her with criminal neglect ending in death, they could have got 10, 15, 20 years out of this that would have stuck, right? But now she's just loose, out there, smoking meth and making communities unsafe.
There shouldn't be any markings. Can you draw, Mr. Kidd, on there where you were and where Matt Lester was?
I was right there, and Matt was right there.
Okay. And you referred to the hallway. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 30.
Meth heads always have their own chairs as well, don't they? These guys, they come and go, they sit in the trailer, they smoke, they play Call of Duty, but they always, I think this guy would have been a big beanbag guy, right? He likes the beanbag. I can just see him sitting in a beanbag playing Call of Duty. That fits.
34. Can you tell us what's depicted there?
Hallway.
And how far down this hallway did Mr. Lester go?
To that door right there.
What happened after, who kicked him out of the door?
Chris.
What happened after Chris kicked him out of the door?
Matt went running up the hill, and we both looked out the window, and Matt was talking to somebody, and Chris said, "Come on, the police probably coming." So Chris started grabbing all the paraphernalia out of his house and put it in a camouflage shirt or a jacket on. Anyways, when we started going out the door, the book bag that Matt had, I grabbed it, and Chris said, "Come on, we was going to go through the woods and go to Henderson Mill Road."
You see, I don't know how many... He's always doing this. Every story ends with Chris McNabb grabbing a bag and packing up all of the paraphernalia in his house in case there's a bust. And they say he wasn't a fucking, appropriate father. What is the word? What's the word? I don't know. Safe. But, that's what he did, right? When he killed the baby, he just put it in a bag that was already filled with some of his own clothes. Yeah, I'm gonna go and stash the body in a bag filled with my stuff. And ran and put it in the woods. When he got back, the cops were there, and they said, "Hey, where you been?" He said, "Oh, I just went to look for the baby in the woods." They said, "How old's the baby?" He said, 14 days. Yeah, she's been talking about the woods ever since she was been born. We figured maybe she went up there, have a look for some bears or an elk.
Courtney was going to pick us up on Henderson Mill.
What was the book bag? Do you remember what was in there?
I never even looked in it.
Why were y'all getting the book bag out of, or why does Chris want it?
I don't read. What the hell I want to look in a book bag for? The only thing in a book bag is books. Books are no good.
To get the book bag out of the trailer.
We didn't know what was in it.
I'm sorry?
We didn't know what was in it.
Okay. Now, did you ever find out what was in it when you got out there?
No.
Did you ever take anything out of the bag?
No.
You said Chris was the one who took you down the trail, or did you take Chris down?
This guy could not be conveying more perfectly the sentiment of, I am not here to be helpful to you or anyone else. Okay? I am here to do the bare minimum of what is required of me by law. And then I'm going home to my beanbag. I asked the bailiff if I could bring my beanbag into the witness box and sit on it here, because that might have made me more comfortable. And then I might have been more obliged to answer your questions in full. But no, justice system broken.
Down the trail.
Chris took me down it.
Have you ever gone down that trail before?
No,
Have you lived there in Eagle Point Mobile Home Park?
no,
Were you aware of the existence of that trail, if you will, or power line
No.
easement that led to Henderson Mill?
no.
I don't think the baby was in the book bag. I think this is another book bag filled with meth paraphernalia that after he lured this guy around to give him a beat down with the brass knuckles in front of the baby, he said, in case the guy calls the cops and the cops come here, he's going to take all of his meth stuff, paraphernalia stuff, out of the house and stash it. So that's what's being put in the book bag. And I think the state is only doing that to draw light on the fact that Chris McNabb is somewhat used to the practice of altering a crime scene, changing evidence, stashing evidence, and otherwise, like he did with the body of his daughter, in much the same way. Stash it in a bag, take it out to the woods. Right, that's what he does. He did it with the meth stuff, and now he did it with the baby, because the state's going to bring that up in their closing argument. They say, he's already doing this, guys. This is a career criminal, guys. He changes crime scenes. He stashes evidence. And he puts stuff in bags. Yeah, and it was a Michael Jordan, like drawstring gym bag, I think. And it's funny because his Facebook name, Headcrack, Headcrack Izzo, it's actually Jordan Headcrack Izzo. So I'm guessing this guy's a big, basketball fan. Loves Michael Jordan. I mean, who doesn't, right? But in his interrogation, the cop says to him, "Is your Facebook name Jordan Hescrack Izzy?" And Chris McNabb says, No, that's not me. I'm Jordan Headcrack Izzo." And the cop just stares at him like thinking, do you think they could be the same guy? I mean, are they both your accounts? Because they're close. Oh.
So if Chris were to say that it was your idea, or you're the one who showed him that path to go down that trail, would that be the truth?
Nope.
When y'all got down to...
I mean, you know what it's like. It's like the white trailer version of Shadrach Nobles, right? No. And nope. Say what now? What? I know where to get it. Probably about 40. Probably about 40. Probably about 40. Yeah, probably about 40. Probably about 40. How many times a day does he say the words probably about 40?
Henderson Mill, what did y'all do?
Started walking.
And then what happened?
I think maybe he called Courtney and told her that we were on Henderson Mill to pick us up.
Did Courtney come and pick you up?
Yes.
Was there somebody in the car with Courtney?
Just Carissa.
Okay. Now I'm going to draw your attention a little bit forward in that from September the 13th to September the 23rd. Did you have the occasion to be in the hospital just prior to that on the 22nd?
Yes.
And why were you in the hospital?
Had a broken jaw.
Where were you in the hospital at?
Atlanta Medical.
And without getting into too much detail,
Had a broken jaw. Yeah. I cracked my head open, and I needed some crack for my head. Had a broken jaw, cracked my jaw. On crack.
can you tell members of the jury generally how your jaw got broke?
Somebody hit me with a piece of asphalt.
Okay. So on
A piece of asphalt. What, like the road? Only in Georgia can you get hit in the face with a piece of road. I mean, what the fuck? I've never even heard of that. Somebody hit me in the face with a piece of road. They just bent down, tore it up, hit me in the face. Fuck. You know, it's normally a bat, crowbar, the butt of a rifle. Not a piece of road. You know, the closest thing that you could get in a normal scenario would be a brick, right?
September the 23rd, or somewhere about that time, did you learn from Mr. McNabb that there was a birth in the family?
Yes.
And did you, at some point in time, go to the hospital to see the baby?
Yes, he came and picked me up.
Okay. And who came and picked you up?
Chris did.
What did y'all do?
First, after he picked me up, we went back to their house, and he was, it was a mess, and he was talking about cleaning it up. Anyways, Cortney started calling, wanting him to come back to the hospital, so we left their house and went back to the hospital.
Okay. When you said it was a mess at their house, what do you mean by that?
It was nasty.
The trailer was nasty?
Yep.
Describe what you mean by that.
Just stuff everywhere. Trash, clothes. It was just a mess.
Was that of any concern to you?
Yeah, I kind of got the idea. I mean, we'll do a walk round of the trailer pictures that were submitted into evidence. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just what you want for, a starter property. It's a good starter property for a young family, right? Get on that property ladder. The only way is up. When you're getting high on meth.
Not really.
Did you make any efforts to get it cleaned up?
Yeah, I did.
Why'd you do that?
Because they had a newborn baby, that's why.
Well,
Shane Kidd, are you expecting us and this jury to believe that you cleaned up their shithole fucking trailer trash fucking domicile? What did you do? Put on a pair of rubber gloves and start spraying things with Lysol and... what? Seriously. I want a diagram of everything you did in that house to clean up. Okay? Because I don't believe a word, Shane Kidd. Not one word. I mean, come on. Seriously. Out of what? Oh, they've got a newborn baby. I better go and clean their house.
explain that.
Well, he was wanting to clean it up, but Courtney was calling, wanting him to come back to the hospital, so we left and went back to the hospital.
Did you get somebody else to clean
Yes.
it up?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Jessica Schumann and Carrie Carter,
And who are those to you?
just some friends.
Do you know whether or not they actually cleaned it up?
Friends/cousins.
Yes, I was there. Jessica came and picked me up from the hospital. We went and picked up Carrie and went to their house and cleaned it up. I called Chris and told him what we were doing, and he...
Do you think by clean up what he really means is go and get that fucking meth lab operation out of that trailer? That's what he means, isn't it? I bet they were fucking what do you call it? Manufacturing meth in that trailer. And he said, yeah, we went to clean up the trailer. Newborn baby. Yeah, newborn baby and parents coming round that are going to see the meth lab if it's not cleaned up and call the FBI and the DEA that are going to come down here on the fucking Eagle Point trailer park in Black Hawk helicopters. Motherfucker. Okay? Get the meth lab out of the house today. Clean up.
He said, go ahead and thank you.
You've admitted that you've smoked methamphetamine.
Right.
Nonetheless, do you believe that children should be protected?
Yes.
Were you concerned about the newborn being brought into this trailer?
Right.
So when you went to the hospital, did you go into the hospital or did you just...
I went into the hospital. I went into the lobby.
Okay.
The waiting room right outside the birth center.
Did you see the baby?
No.
What did you do?
Just sat in the little waiting area.
Okay. And was that the day that the baby was brought home or just the day?
No, I think it was the day she was born.
Okay. Did you later go to the hospital on the day that she was born?
Yeah, I went to the hospital the day
I'm sorry, on the day that she came home.
Yes.
And how did you go there?
Chris and Courtney.
So were you in the car with them on that day?
Yes.
When y'all got to the hospital, what did you do?
Sat in the car.
Why'd you sit in the car?
Because my jaw was broke and I was trying to eat something. So I just sat in the car. And
What were you
waited on
eating?
A burrito.
And was your jaw wired shut at that
Yes,
time?
it was.
Don't you think you should eat something that you have to chew less than a burrito? If you've got a broken jaw that's wired shut. I mean, get something you can sip through a straw. A cup of soup is a good option. A fucking, vanilla ice cream. Get creative. What else? Christina, you're good at this game. What are the softest foods to eat? Vote in the poll. Marshmallows. I was in the car trying to eat marshmallows through a straw. Oh. The doctor said only eat what I can sip. So I thought, what is the softest thing? And I thought marshmallows, and then I tried sucking them through a straw, which made my jaw worse. And I may need another scan. Yogurt. Do you not have an H in yogurt? Oh, great options. Well, I want to mix all these together. That'll be a good recipe. Mashed potatoes with yogurt, scrambled eggs, soup, applesauce, grits, broth, milkshake. What else? What else? You see, Christina, you do this though. You get excited and then start, milkshake and ice cream. That's essentially the same thing, exactly. I mean, that's like saying fish broth and chicken broth. I mean, it just makes the list too long. We need to go in groups. Scrambled eggs I like. Soup I like. Applesauce I like. Grits. I don't know what a grit is, but I've heard they're very good. If it is only sippable, then I guess the scrambled eggs won't work. I take that back. No, I think it's great. How do you like your eggs, Michelle? I'd love to cook Michelle's scrambled eggs. I do good. I do good scrambled eggs.
Did you have any tubes?
I had a drain tube coming out from behind my ear.
Why did you go to the hospital given your condition?
I had a drain tube coming out from behind my ear for the surplus soup. I was draining soup out of my ear. We don't have fancy hospitals. We just drain soup out of people's ears.
On that day.
Because they asked me to. They asked me to ride with them.
Did you consider Chris a friend at that time?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice whether or not any
Well, it's not a criticism. Don't be so sensitive. Well, you know, I'm not telling you how to be. Be as sensitive as you feel is right for you. But come on, milkshake and ice cream are the same thing, and you know it.
other of his friends had come to the hospital to see his baby?
No.
Shortly thereafter, did they ever arrive with the child to come back to the car?
Yes.
And what did they do with the child?
Put her in the car seat, and we left. They took me somewhere else and dropped me off, and I don't know where they went after that. I guess they went home.
Okay. Now, for the next, I guess, several days between the time that you were with them on September 27th when the baby was brought home from the hospital to the time that Chris was charged with a probation violation on October the 8th, did you have contact with Chris McNabb?
Yes.
And were you hanging out at different places in Newton County with Mr. McNabb during that period of
Yes.
time? What were y'all doing during that period of time?
Just hanging out, getting high.
Have you had the occasion to review some of your...
Just, what were you doing during that period? Just hanging out, getting high? It's like, gee, do you ever like want to do something else? like go outside? I mean, you don't even have to go somewhere good. You just go to Walmart and have a look around, or Home Depot. Have a look at the power tools. Check out the Makitas.
some of the Facebook records in connection with this case?
Not really.
Do you know whether or not Mr. McNabb texted you or communicated with you in some form or fashion on the morning of October the 7th, 2017?
Yes.
What time did he reach out to you?
He texted me all night long that Friday night.
Why was he texting you?
He was wanting to know where I was.
Did
He
you
was trying
respond?
to. Nope.
Why not?
Because that Friday afternoon when he called me and told me that her dad had just brought the kids back home, and Cortney was in the background telling him he wasn't going anywhere, that he was going to stay at home, and I just never answered the phone for him again because I didn't want to be the reason that he took off and caused the fight between both of them.
Now, were you aware of an incident that occurred prior to that where were you ever in the presence when Mr. McNabb made an assault upon Ms. Bell?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was at Missy Davis's apartment at the, above the trailer park. Anyways, Chris come up there and said that him and Cortney had just got into a fight. And he stayed up there for a minute and he said he was going back home. I told him I'd walk with him. Anyways, when we got back down there, he walked in and they started arguing again, and he jumped on her and started hitting her.
What did you say or do about that?
I told him, enough was enough, come on. Leave her alone.
Now, was there another occasion when you and Mr. McNabb were trying to leave in a car?
Yes.
Tell the jury about that.
We were trying to leave. I was in Timmy's mom's car, Cindy's car. Anyways, I stopped by over there and Chris was wanting to go with me. And Cortney didn't want him to leave and she kept leaning against the car, standing in the way. And he finally flipped out and jumped out of the car and knocked her down. And then jumped in the car and he wanted me to take off, but I didn't really take. I left, but I didn't really take off the way he wanted me to. It was like he was telling me to, smash out. But I felt bad for her.
Do you know whether that she was pregnant or she had the child already?
I want to say she was still pregnant.
Now,
she might not have been.
are you familiar with this busted out window that I'm showing you in State's Exhibit number 48.
Yeah.
Do you know how that window got busted out?
They told me Chris threw a
Objection,
TV.
Your Honor. Hearsay.
Well, who told you that?
Chris
First,
and Courtney told me that Chris threw a TV through it.
submission by the party opponent, Judge.
Objection overruled.
That Chris threw what through that?
A TV?
Had Chris, were you hanging out with him pretty regularly during these days?
He threw a TV through the window. And then repaired it with a cardboard box that was still on there when the crime scene detectives, because the argument for Chris was that somebody else came into the trailer and murdered the baby and then took his bag of clothes with his clothes in it from the trailer to hide the baby's body in near his house. Okay. But the prosecution made a point of saying to the detective who took the picture of the broken, busted up, repaired window, did that in any way seem tampered with or broken into? And the guy just says, no, it looked like it had been there for quite a while. Yeah. One of those I'll get to it on the weekend jobs, huh?
Days leading up to baby Kalia being killed?
Yes.
Did he ever tell you that Matt Lester had broken into his trailer?
No.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Michelle. I think that's a good one for the poll. What is the more popular shop or store for murder cleanup kits? Walmart or Home Depot? Let's find out. Acapella. Boom. Through a TV through a window, kind of a hick Keith Moon. Yeah, he threw a TV into a drum kit. A bass drum. He threw a bass drum through the window of the trailer and then broke the TV.
Was the whole beef that day where Matt Lester was beat up, was that centered just around Timmy Rushton's
Yes.
mama getting?
Yes.
That's Cindy, right?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Chris McNabb was a big dope dealer?
No.
Yep. You were smoking dope with him.
Yeah.
How was he acquiring dope at that time?
He didn't really even have any. It was me that had it.
So how did he get it to smoke it then?
I'd give it to him or smoke it with him.
Okay. What did he have large sums of cash that he carried around?
No.
Did he have flashy gold jewelry or anything that would make him the subject of somebody who wanted to execute a hit on him or break into the trailer to rob him of anything?
No.
Did Mr. McNabb have enemies that you were aware of that were capable or on the radar of somebody who might break into the trailer to steal his baby and kill it?
No.
The day of October the 7th, after you learned that the child had been, quote unquote, kidnapped, were you and Mr. McNabb texting on that day or communicating via Facebook Messenger about what he needed to do?
What do you mean?
Did you give him advice about what he needed to do about his child being missing? Do you recall that?
I told him he needed to pray about it.
I'm going to tender into the evidence, Judge, State's Exhibit number 72, which is 2 volumes of Facebook records for the Facebook account Jordan, Jordynn, Headcrack, spelled with a C, Headcrak.
Oh, this one's spelt with a C. There's one with a C, a K, and a Q. Jordan Headcrack, Izzo.
Izzo, I-Z-Z-O.
Objection.
Mr. Frost?
No objection, Your Honor.
Submitted without objection.
There's a business record certification that accompanies it, Judge.
I mean, do you think this judge speaks like that anywhere he goes? I mean, say if he holidays in Paris, right? He's walking down the Champs-Élysées, stopping for a croissant. And, Mr. Frost. I mean, in this setting, it makes great sense, right? But you take it out of the equation. I mean, you know, it's not long before we might be in trouble.
I'm going to put up on the screen page 77 of these records. And again, starting here at the bottom of these records. Can you see a message there that you would have sent to Chris McNabb? Are you aware that Jordan Headcrack Izzo was his Facebook address at some point in time?
Yes.
All right, that message here that says Shane Kidd, was that a message that you sent on October the 8th? That says 6:07 UTC time, so 4 hours behind. That would be 2:07 in the morning.
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury what you said to him?
Said, Chris, I ain't heard anything. Only thing I know to do is pray that she is okay. Y'all need to do the same. Get on your knees and beg the good Lord to bring her home safe. I love y'all and I'm praying for her and y'all.
And did Mr. McNabb communicate with you on October the 8th at 2:34 p.m. asking you for something?
Yes.
What was he asking for?
He said, Unc, I gotta have a bag of groceries, you dig, see if you can take me shopping.
Okay, now what does the term "unk" mean to you?
Uncle?
Is that what he referred to you as?
Yes.
And when he talks about a bag of groceries, is he talking about going Krogering, or is he talking about something else?
He's talking about something else.
What is he talking about?
A bag of meth.
And you responded saying what?
I don't have any.
It's a bag of meth, huh? Do you think the cops know about that one? Hey, can you stop by with another bag of groceries again? Yeah, it's the 10th time this week, but yeah, I ran out of groceries, so I don't know, you think you could stop by with a bag of groceries?
Groceries right now, going to the grocery store, what you need and I'll get it.
And then, again, that would have been roughly 2:30 in the afternoon.
Praying on meth, gotta be a powerful experience. Probably. I told him to pray to meth. Oh, Lord of meth, in our hour of need we seek.
Afternoon, the day after his child went missing. And then what did he tell you?
I won't sleep until my little baby is back home.
And you said in response?
I figured I would do the same. I said,
What did you tell him next?
you want to tell me what you need so I can get it?
And then on the following day, on October the 8th, again, this would say 20 military time, UTC time. So assuming that UTC time means 4 hours behind you would have texted him that afternoon. What did you tell him?
Said, boy, wherever you are, do the right thing, get on your knees and pray for forgiveness. And the right thing, I don't know what happened, but that baby girl deserved more than that, not a duffel bag in the woods.
So when you said that message, had you learned that the child had been found in the woods in a duffel bag?
Yes.
Were you giving him
Hang
advice?
on a second.
Yeah.
Are you aware?
What did he mean by that? He said, that baby deserved more, that child. That baby deserved more than a duffel bag in the woods. Does he mean deserve more, like to be buried in? Like a better burial? That baby deserved more than a bag in the woods to be buried in. You know, we should have at least sprung for a shoebox. You know, a nice one from Dr. Martin's.
That your name was brought up in this investigation via Cortney to Chris about you possibly being the person who went into the trailer and killed the child?
No.
Do you recall being in the presence of Cortney after Chris was arrested with some young girl who I guess started some gossip about this case?
Yes.
Tell the members of the jury about that. Where were you and what happened?
We were at somebody's house in Conyers, and anyway, the girl called Courtney outside and told her that I had told her that I killed their baby. Courtney come back inside and told me, and I said, you know, I went outside and confronted the girl, and she said that she didn't say it. That she said something else.
So are you aware that Mr. McNabb brought your name up in this investigation as a person? Would you have ever broken into that trailer to kill baby Kalia?
No.
Those are all the questions I have for this witness.
Mr. Carter?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Mr. Kidd. How are you?
All right.
Just have a couple of questions for you. You said you were in communication with Mr. McNabb the night of October 6th, morning of October 7th, to some extent. Is that right?
Yeah.
And your usual manner of communication with him is through Facebook.
Right.
In fact, that's really the only way you got in touch with him, unless one of y'all had a phone and you knew what the other's number was, right?
Now, he had a phone. He'd call me, Facebook call me, or whatever.
But you generally did not communicate, except usually by
Yep.
Facebook. All right. You are the Jeremy Shane kid that pled guilty to giving false name to a law enforcement officer in the Superior Court of Morgan County on May 13th of 2009. Is that right?
Yeah.
Your Honor, at this time I would tender Defense Exhibit N10.
Objection.
Certified copy.
Submitted without objection.
You're the Jeremy Shane kid that pled guilty to giving false information to a law enforcement officer in Newton County on September 22nd of 2011. Is that right?
Yeah.
Your Honor, tender Defense Exhibit M11.
No objection.
Submitted without objection.
And you are the same Jeremy Shane kid that pled guilty to giving false information to a police officer in Jasper County, Georgia on December 12th of 2017. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Your Honor, tender certified copy, defendants N12.
No objection.
Submitted without objection.
And you are actually on probation now, is that right?
Yes.
Man, if Chris McNabb's defense lawyer thought he was going to get anywhere by trying to discredit the credibility of this witness by highlighting some brushes with the law, you were the same Shane kid that lied to a law enforcement officer on June 20. Good luck, because most of the witnesses in this case that aren't from the law enforcement community are already in jail on other charges, meth-related charges. All of them. I mean, it's an epidemic. What is the county? I think it's somewhere near Athens. I'll look it up.
Up until 2 weeks ago, you had a probation warrant out for you. Is that correct?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
Are you aware that the DA arranged to have that probation warrant lifted so that you could come into Newton County and talk to them?
No.
Objection, Judge. There's no evidence of that.
Objection sustained.
All right.
Newton County.
When you spoke with Chris McNabb, you spoke with him on his Facebook account called Jordan Headcrack Izzo. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only Facebook account that you spoke with him on.
No.
All right. Which other ones did you speak with him?
I really want that to be the name title of the Netflix series on this drama series. Just Headcrack Izzo. Jordan Headcrack Izzo. It's too long, isn't it? Just Headcrack, but with a Q. Qrak. Headcrack. I like it.
Come on.
Just about everyone he's had.
On October 8th, 2017, when you're talking with him, telling him he needs to pray and talking about getting groceries for him, you were speaking on Jordan Headcrack Izzo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Frost?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just a couple questions, Mr. Kidd. What exactly did you mean when you were telling him you better get on your knees and pray? What is it you think he should have been praying for?
For what he did.
Which is killing Kalia.
Yeah.
Did you ever notify authorities that you suspected him?
He'd already been arrested for it.
Okay, so this was after his arrest that you stated this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a fucking bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? Call the cops up with a secret tip after the guy has already been arrested. Hello, is this the Newton County Police? I want to remain anonymous, but you might want to be looking into Chris McNabb. I think he might have had something to do with this. Like, cut to McNabb being booked.
As far as the house
They were
being,
looking for him or whatever,
they were looking for him,
I guess.
but you talked to him. You talked to him the night before any of this. She even went missing, correct?
He was with me the night before.
Okay.
Thursday night.
Did you learn anything that night? Did you know
No,
anything?
Thursday night or Friday night.
The night before she went missing, or the morning she went missing.
No, I
October
wasn't with him.
7th.
I wasn't with him.
Early
Just tell him what day you're talking about.
October 7th,
Counselor, tell him the day of the week.
Friday.
Friday. I talked to him Friday afternoon, but Friday
Okay.
night I didn't talk to him.
And Saturday?
I didn't talk to him till like Saturday morning till, I don't know, somewhere around 8:30
8:30 a.m. or p.m.?
a.m.
You say the house was filthy. This was while Courtney was giving birth?
Yes.
She'd been at the hospital for 2 days, correct?
No. Not that I
No?
know of.
I'm
Not
sorry?
that I know of.
I was gonna say, I hope she didn't give birth in that fucking trailer. I'll try and bring up the pictures.
Didn't she have the baby on Saturday? When I went to the house, it was on Saturday.
Okay. You're aware that she did give birth in a hospital?
Yeah.
Did Shane Kidd deliver the baby or what? I mean, why is he so involved with it? We went to the hospital, then she was having the baby in the trailer, and I put on my gloves.
Okay. And you're aware that there was complications to that birth?
Yes.
And that she spent time in the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. So the house being filthy, you arranged to have some people come in out of the goodness of your heart?
Yes,
But you do understand, of course, my client, prior to being in the hospital, giving birth for those 2 days, was also fully pregnant.
yes,
Okay. And you say you went to the hospital, but you just sat in the car.
when they picked her up, yeah.
All right, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Ms. Zahn?
Are you aware of whether or not Chris was up at the hospital in one of those days between the 23rd and the 27th when the baby came home and then left in a sudden hurry?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
He called me and told me that crime suppression and some other police were at the hospital, and he took off running. Well,
Why-
he asked me to get him a ride, and the only people I could get to get him a ride was Missy Davis and Jamie Stevens.
Why did he take off running from the hospital where his
He-
baby was?
He said he thought he had a warrant on him, and they were there for him.
He always ran when there was something that required responsibility. Why did he run away from the baby at the hospital? Well,
Where did he go to?
He went to the city park across from, well, down the street from the Covenant Police Department.
to score.
So he went to Academy Springs Park?
Yeah,
Now, you indicated that he had multiple Facebook accounts,
yes,
and was he texting you from all of those different ones?
yes,
Are you absolutely certain that he was texting you in the morning hours of October the 7th when the baby was missing?
yes.
What was he saying to you?
He was just asking me where I was, and I never, I didn't answer him. And at like 7:41 Saturday morning, he sent me a message and told me that he was wigging and tripping and needed to get out of there, and I didn't say anything to him.
What does wigging and tripping mean to those who don't smoke methamphetamines?
Paranoid.
And if you could just indulge me for a minute, for those who have not smoked methamphetamine, what is the effect? I mean, what happens? Do you stay up more than you
Yes.
normally would?
Yes,
Is it possible to not sleep when you smoke methamphetamines?
yes,
Can that go for days?
yes,
Have you done that personally?
yes.
So literally, like, how many days in a row could you go without sleeping?
4 or 5,
With no sleep at all?
no sleep at all.
And what happens when you finally go to sleep?
You crash out, you sleep hard. You'll sleep for a day or so.
Has that happened to you?
Yes,
It happened to him today. He just woke up. He was on meth for the last 4 days, slept for a day, and now he's in court.
That particular day, how do you remember that 7:41 so specifically?
because of what he said. And then, I don't know, it was less than an hour later, he sent me another message and told me that he couldn't find the baby. And that's when I finally responded to him and asked him, what do you mean you can't find her? It ain't like she can get up and walk. You need to wake Courtney up and y'all need to find her.
And that is different from these messages that we saw earlier today?
Yes,
But you're certain about this?
I'm certain.
And the jury just heard that you've been convicted on multiple occasions of giving false information to a police officer. That's a misdemeanor offense?
Yes,
Have you ever been convicted of a felony, Shane Kidd?
yes, in 1994.
What was that?
I was in 1994.
What was the crime, though?
Theft by taking and entering an auto.
Okay. Given the fact that you've lied to the police or pled guilty at least on 3 different occasions to lying to the police, why should the jury believe
Metrics, you're probably spot on about that. About what, Michelle? Trying to think what it was.
what you're telling them today about the morning hours of the 7th and your communications with Mr. McNabb?
I mean, what I lied to the police about was my name because I had a warrant on me. I don't see no reason why I'd make up a lie about this.
Thank you. Those are all the questions that I have.
Gordon?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Kidd, the communication at 7:41 a.m. on October 7th, was that made over Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
Which account of yours was that from?
The only one I got.
All right. Do you have those messages?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't keep messages. If you ain't one of my kids and part of my family, I don't need them.
Would it surprise you to know that those messages are nowhere on Chris McNabb's Facebook Messenger?
I guess.
Which account? Judge, I would ask that to be clarified. This account?
Well, it's certainly not on this account because we've got those records in, right?
I guess.
Okay. So, are you aware that it's not on any account that has been, that we have subpoenaed? You're aware that none of those accounts contain any information about Chris McNabb texting you at 7:40, 8:40, anytime in that morning?
No.
Ms. Zahn showed you where you were speaking with Chris McNabb on October 8th after the police had been called, as you said. Is that right?
Yep.
And you are aware that there are no other messages from you during that time period except those.
Methodist. Classic a cappella move there. See? An opportunity comes up. He sees framing as people that worship meth. Connects it with the Methodist Church. That's classic a cappella. I mean, I think you should have the final 10 minutes of the show. There should be like just a spin-off.
Messages she showed.
Yeah.
But you're trying to tell this jury that you have the key to this case and that you know that Chris McNabb was awake during a time when he was supposed to be asleep. Is that right?
Yeah.
And they're supposed to take your word for it. Is that right? So when did you go to Investigator Alexander and tell him this?
I don't know, a couple of weeks after he was arrested.
You told Investigator
No, I
Alexander?
told Bo Alexander.
All right, told Bo Alexander this
Yes, I
a
did.
couple weeks after she was arrested. All right, did you tell Investigator Jeff Alexander that?
No.
I have nothing for you.
Mr. Frost?
I'm sorry, I may have not articulated my question properly, or perhaps you misunderstood it, I'm not sure which. On a Saturday, October 7th, 2017, Saturday morning, the morning the child went missing, you're saying that at 7:41, you knew that child was missing?
No, he sent me a message at 7:41 and said that he was wigging and tripping and needed to get out there for a little while.
I thought you just said you
No,
need to...
I said what
Let
I
me
said
finish,
was-
sir.
All right.
I did not hear him say that. I heard him say what he's saying up here.
Okay. Did you not say you need to wake up Courtney?
Yeah, about an hour later, he sent me another message that said he couldn't find the baby.
Okay, so that would be around 8:41.
I guess, yeah.
Still when everybody was supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah.
But you're clear on the fact that so at 8:41,
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was 8:41. I said less than an hour later.
Less
after
than an hour later,
7:41.
so
I
8:30?
ain't exactly sure what time it was.
8:30?
Could have been.
Okay. In any event, he says, wake up Courtney.
No, I told him to wake up Courtney.
I'm sorry, you're right. But you say, wake up Courtney, so you presume she's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He said he couldn't find the baby. I told him, I said, well, you need to get Courtney's ass up and y'all need to find the baby. That's what I said.
All right. Did you, at any point in between that point and the time that the child was discovered, suspect foul play?
No.
You did not. What did you think happened? Did you have an opinion?
I had no idea.
I didn't expect foul play at all, not one bit. What did you think happened? I thought she went to the woods. She loved nature.
I didn't have any idea what
Now
happened.
listen to me, when they object, you need to stop talking until I can listen and make some ruling.
I'll rephrase that question.
Okay?
Was there anything that you knew that
2 weeks old, Michelle, yeah. 14 days. Terrible, isn't it?
could have possibly assisted you in formulating an opinion on what may have happened?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Ms. Zion,
Nothing further, Judge.
you may step on down.
Oh, he's another good one. The guy on the left there, currently serving time for meth. Everyone in this story, even the people that don't do meth, look like they're on meth. I mean, I'd love to go there. I'd love to go and have a look around the Eagle Point Trailer Park. Honestly, that'd be fantastic. We could do a little documentary filmmaking. Very nice. I don't think we answered that question today, though. What was the question? The question was, was it right to overturn her murder conviction? Well, there's two questions. Was it did the state what is the phrase? Overshoot? Overplay? Overreach? Did they overreach by charging her with murder? I think yes, because the appellate court overturned. I'm surprised that she got the murder conviction because the defense attorney, her defense attorney, I think did a pretty good job of separating her from the crime, right? All that talk about, hey, and if McNabb's not guilty, you might as well just throw her conviction out the window because there is no murder. Strong posture. Michelle didn't like him much, but that's okay. That's okay. But what was the other question? The other question was it right to overturn her murder conviction? And I think the answer is yes, but she should still go to prison for being a fuck up. Just a meth head fuck up, And it'll be the same sad story ending for all meth head fuck ups. I mean, there's no big change coming here, is there? She's out, she's got her freedom, sort of, until her next bust. But at what price? Safety to the community? Justice for baby Kalia? The state should not have charged her with murder in the way that they did. And I don't say that because I don't think she deserved it. I think she probably did. But as is proven by what happened, it got overturned. And now she can't be convicted of a lesser. So well done, state. And also, state, you should not have tried them together. It's funny because I said the other day that trying someone with Chris McNabb is hopeless because you could put Osama bin Laden next to him and Chris McNabb would make bin Laden look less guilty. And that was before I realized that the defense attorney was going to go into a whole get the jury fired up about 9/11 thing. You don't get mad at me. You get mad at those terrorists who hijacked those planes. God bless America. the United States. Good tactic. Good tactic. So, was it right to overturn her conviction? Yes. But she still deserved to get life. State overplayed. She should be in jail for at least 15 years, 20. 20 would be best. But and they could have done that on a child abuse, neglect ending in death, child death. You know, there would have been a real nice way to dress that up in a separate trial. That's absolutely what they should have done. I don't know why they didn't do that. Why put these two on together? What do people in the chat say? Why would they try these two together? Am I not right? That it would have been more... they got the conviction at this trial by trying them both together, but I think they were lucky. I don't know how they did that. We'll be checking out the prosecutor's closing argument, I think the rebuttal, because I've still got her face on the TV screen here. I've got to screenshot that because it's just a great fucking freeze frame. Wow. Yeah. She's good. She does a good job. And obviously that was the last word before the jury went back, so it doesn't really matter. And also, I guess we will be checking out Chris McNabb's closing argument as well, although that is very short. But the prosecutor does a beautiful job of shining this off. We'll be checking that out probably on Sunday, unless we choose to do Sunday Fun Day. So next show, Sunday, no show tomorrow, no. But Sunday at, I think we're trying 8 o'clock Sundays, early Sundays. Yeah. Ovaltine Sundays, our new sponsor. Ovaltine will be sponsoring True Crime Metrics from now on. They're sending us $1 million per show. Yeah. So we'll look forward to that. We hope you do too. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting, super sticker giving, super coffee go getting, super bulletproof metrics moderating. And just by being the shiny people you all are. Fantastic as ever. Good night. Have a great weekend. And tune in to True Crime Metrics. All day, every day on Metrics. Okay. Adios.